For years, we've all been taught the same thing about how to spot a scam, right? Look for the bad spelling, the weird links, the crazy requests. But what if I told you that all of those rules are basically useless now? The game is completely changed because the scams themselves have changed. So, just for a second, be honest with yourself. Are you really sure you could spot a fake message or a fraudulent call today? Because, well, it's a lot harder than you think, and the scammers are counting on us all to keep playing by the old rules.
I mean, just look at this. It's clean. The grammar is perfect. It feels urgent. And it's about something we all use, right? Cloud storage. This is the new face of fraud. It's professional, it's polished, and it looks exactly like a real alert. The obvious red flags we used to look for, they're just gone.
And these things are absolutely everywhere. A recent McAfee report found that the average person gets 14 scam messages, not a week, not a month, every single day. That's across your texts, your email, your social media. It's a constant flood.
So what we're going to do here is break down exactly what makes today's scams so different and, frankly, so much more dangerous. Because that old playbook for spotting them, it just doesn't work anymore.
This really puts the evolution into perspective, doesn't it? We went from these clumsy, obvious emails about some long-lost prince to messages that are practically identical to what we'd get from our bank. But here's the absolute game changer. The new scams often don't even have a link for you to click.
And this isn't some tiny little trend either. Look at this. More than a quarter of suspicious messages on social media now have no link at all. So there's nothing to hover over, no weird URL to check. The goal isn't to get you to click anymore. No, the goal is to get you to reply, to start a conversation. And you know what? It's working. Nearly half of the people who get one of these linkless messages, they actually reply. And that little bit of engagement, that's the hook. That's exactly what the scammer is waiting for to pull you into the next, much more dangerous phase of the attack.
And that conversation is where things get really, really scary. Because we're not just talking about text anymore. The most sophisticated new scams are being powered by AI voice cloning. And it's about to completely change what it means to believe what you hear.
An audio deepfake or voice clone is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's AI that's used to generate speech that sounds just like a specific person. Could be your boss, your mom, your partner, making them say things they never ever actually said. Just let that sink in for a minute. 3 seconds. That is all it takes. Any little bit of audio from a social media video, a podcast, even a voicemail you left someone, that's enough for an AI to create a totally convincing clone of your voice. So, how many 3-second clips of your voice are floating around out there?
So, here's how a Vishing, that's voice phishing, attack actually plays out. First, the attacker grabs a short audio clip of someone you trust. Then they use AI to clone that voice. Next, they spoof the caller ID so the call looks legit. And finally, they call you with some urgent, panicked request using a voice you trust to push you into acting without thinking.
And hey, this isn't some sci-fi, far-off threat. According to McAfee's research, 1 in 10 Americans has already been targeted by one of these scams. This is happening right now to real people at a massive scale.
The impact of all this, wow, it goes so much deeper than just the money you might lose. We're talking about a huge drain on our time, our finances, and honestly, our peace of mind.
This right here is a really crucial point. McAfee calls it the time tax. The average person now spends 114 hours a year just trying to sort out what's real and what's fake online. Just think about that. For most people, that's way more time than they get for vacation. It's basically become this exhausting, unpaid second job for all of us. And yeah, when these scams do work, the financial hit is huge, and it's happening everywhere. We are not talking about a few bucks here and there. We're seeing average losses of well over $1,000 per victim in countries all across the globe.
You know why these scams are so successful? Because they disguise themselves as the boring, everyday stuff of our digital lives. A fake delivery notice, an account verification text, a bank alert. They're designed to blend in, to catch you when your guard is down.
And all of this has a real emotional cost. Is it any surprise that 62% of Americans now feel their personal information is more at risk than it was just 1 year ago? That is a massive erosion of trust, and it's creating a ton of anxiety in our day-to-day lives. Okay, so the threat is sophisticated and it's real, but that does not mean we're helpless.
It just means we need a totally new mindset and a new set of tools to protect ourselves.
This is the single most important rule of this new era. You have to burn this into your brain. Hearing a voice you know and trust is simply not enough to prove who you're talking to anymore. Full stop. So how do we actually prove who we're talking to? Well, the key strategy is something called out-of-band verification. It sounds a little technical, I know, but the idea is actually super simple. You confirm the request through a different communication channel.
Here's what that looks like in the real world. Let's say you get a frantic video call from your boss asking for a wire transfer. Don't just do it. Hang up and call them back on the cell number you already have for them. Get an urgent email? Shoot them a quick message on Slack or Teams to confirm it's real. See? The attacker might be able to compromise one channel, but it's really unlikely they control two.
All right, this brings us to the most important part, a clear, actionable playbook that you can start using today to defend yourself, your family, and your company. Look, scammers rely on urgency and pressure. That's their whole game. So your single best weapon is to just pause, take a breath, verify any sensitive request using a different method. Always use phone numbers you already have saved, never ones they give you in the message. You can even set up a secret word or phrase with family or colleagues for really critical stuff. And above all else, trust your gut. If something feels weird, it probably is.
So I'll leave you with this question. The next time your phone buzzes and it's an urgent, high-stakes request from a voice you think you know, what is your first move? Because in this new reality we live in, pausing to verify isn't being paranoid. It's the only smart move there is.